You're good.
Hey. Yeah, I told him.
I'm so impressed by that.
Yes, and I made sure I gave the governor ashes. I gave him a packet of ashes.
Ashes to go.
Ashes to go. I got them from reception.
Yes.
Look, I have my own packet.
You're gonna give me a package?
I'll give you. I'll disperse.
I gotta go.
Yes. That falls down.
I'll tell you, you gotta
We're
go.
the same age, Governor. We're celebrating.
We are, okay.
I don't know what is
Catherine Cassidy, Councilwoman Woodbridge.
You got that right.
So,
You ready? Set? Good. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. You know, the sun is shining this morning, and that's because we had a great budget address yesterday afternoon by our governor, and we're very proud to be here this morning to talk about it. I'm Ray Greaves, chairman of the Amalgamated Transit Union, and I'm happy to be here today joining the governor and the other dignitaries that are up here and the workers that are here at the Maintenance of Way New Jersey Transit Facility. I think first, before we start, let's give the workers here a big round of applause for what they do. So, we are here, Governor, because of your state of the address yesterday with your budget address, and I can't be any prouder. You know, it's been last year and this year, we now have a governor, after years of neglect here at New Jersey Transit, that stands up for the people in New Jersey, the 1 million daily commuters who over the years have been faced with service cuts and fare increases that were astronomical. We have a governor who believes that transit should be a priority here in New Jersey. You will see it in this budget. You will see it, you will hear about it from the workers here at New Jersey Transit who are talking to our commuters, who are talking about getting our Assembly and our Senate to get on board and to pass this budget, a budget that secures jobs, that keeps fares stable, and keeps our trains and buses rolling for our 1 million daily commuters. And it's no bigger fan of New Jersey Transit than our governor, and I'm about to introduce him right now, our governor of the great state of New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy.
Thank you, Ray. You need more passion, Ray.
Let's hear it. Come on.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just said to Ray, he needs more passion. Cannot thank you enough, man. I'll come back to you in a minute. It is great to be here at NJ Transit's Woodridge Maintenance Facility, and a particular treat to be here with one of my legislative partners, Senate Budget Committee Chair, and even more importantly, as we stand in his backyard, the mayor of this great community, Paul Sarlo. Paul, great to be with you. We are also just a stone's throw from the Westmont Station, which we were just discussing, and how that's transformed this community, which Senator Sarlo worked so hard to see built to benefit the residents in this community and in this area. The NJ Transit that we are creating will not just be better for our commuters, but also for our communities. We're committed to ensuring the best use of our assets, like the one we stand in, by the way, to be utilized for the greatest good for communities like Woodridge. And I know Mayor Sarlo and the governing body, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of his distinguished council members, and one of whom just gave me, as a Murphy, I have to say this, from Assumption Church here in Woodridge, ashes to go on Ash Wednesday. So thank you for that, Councilman. But to him and members of the council here at Woodridge are also committed, as we are, to such a vision. I'm incredibly honored to be joined as well by Assemblymen Gary Scher and Clinton Calabrese. Guys, thank you very much for being here. It means a lot that you are with us. We're also honored to be joined by Transportation Commissioner and importantly, the chair of NJ Transit's board, Diane Gutierrez-Scacchetti. Diane. And NJ Transit's executive director, Kevin Corbett, is in the house. So, Kevin. And now, Ray, back to you. God bless you and thank you for that great introduction. I know when I walk into that chamber, whether it's a State of the State or a budget address, I already know kind of where you're going to be. And I look up at you in the rafters, and it means a lot that you're there. I thank you personally, but also the men and women of the ATU and all the brothers and sisters of organized labor, part of the NJ Transit family, both with us today and beyond. As well as for all the work you are doing to help us restore NJ Transit. We've had this conversation. Ray and I have had this over time. Jerome Johnson of SMART as well has had the conversation, and that is that even in the darkest days when the state funding was gutted, the management wasn't right, the safety requirements from the federal government weren't being met, the engineering classes and the bus operator communities were dwindling. Every day, day in and day out, the men and women came in to work and gave it everything they had. And now you got a state leadership, you got adherence to federal safety standards, we're rebuilding the ranks, and for all the above, I can't thank you enough for your undying commitment to this organization. So as Ray said yesterday, we unveiled a budget built in large part around our commitment to investing in NJ Transit. An investment in NJ Transit is an investment in building a more secure middle class, in making us more competitive, and in strengthening our future. NJ Transit is a critical part of our blueprint for the middle class. This commitment to our commuters, I think we have it on a bar chart here, totals, Jana, I want to thank you as well for being here representing commuters. As always, I should have said that up front. This commitment to our commuters totals $407.5 million in our proposed budget, which is a $100 million year-over-year increase in our general fund support. Importantly, this investment means we can continue to put NJ Transit on a firmer financial footing. It will also allow NJ Transit to end the $75 million in diversions, in addition to that, along with providing $25 million in new direct support. This means we'll be able to make our investments go further and do more for our commuters. Last year, commuters didn't shoulder a fare hike. And if this proposed investment is passed by the legislature, they won't see one this year either. And I think that's important. It is simple fairness, if nothing else. On top of this, many more commuters can now put money into pre-tax savings accounts to pay for their fares and parking. I signed this into law last Friday. This means potentially hundreds of millions of dollars a year in savings while using NJ Transit to get to work. We have to remember where we started when we took office 14 months ago. Over 8 long years under the previous administration, NJ Transit had been systematically gutted. And I think this chart gives you some flavor of that. Take a second when you're walking out here to read that with your own eyes. Customers became second-class citizens. Fares rose while services eroded. The ranks of rail engineers were so thinned out that NJ Transit was left with little or no backup abilities. And by the way, this isn't abstract. We saw the impact of this on Monday of this week when call-outs led to dozens of canceled trains because NJ Transit's bench was left so depleted. Installation of positive train control, a federally required safety upgrade, a requirement that was first put out in 2011, was barely even off the starting blocks, 9 years after it was mandated, and even with a huge deadline last December 31st looming. NJ Transit owed millions to Amtrak, and commuters in and out of New York Penn Station wondered if they even mattered. In 1 year, we've begun the long, hard work of turning this all around. Every single one of the $407.5 million we seek to invest shows our commitment to making NJ Transit not just the turnaround story of New Jersey, but the turnaround story of our nation. In Kevin and Diane, we have new customer-focused leadership. Commuters are being listened to and are receiving more information on a timelier basis. As I mentioned, commuters were spared a fare hike, and I do hope we can make it 2 years in a row. 6 new classes, 102 potential new rail operators are being trained. And 4 of these classes, amen. And 4 of these classes will graduate this year. Positive train control installation against all odds met not the last deadline, but the biggest deadline on December 31st. And NJ Transit and Amtrak are now working as partners on upgrading New York Penn Station to make it more comfortable and more welcoming for our commuters. Let me just say this, none of us are here claiming mission accomplished, not by a long shot. We have just started on our mission of restoring NJ Transit as a model for safe, efficient, affordable, and customer-driven mass transit. But we can't get there unless we sustain our investments. This budget is critical to maintaining our progress. We need to make this budget investment. We need to make it for commuters, whether here in town at Westmont Station, across Woodridge, and up and down NJ Transit's system. We need to make it for everyone who proudly works for this system. Thank you again for being with us today. It is now my great honor to introduce the Commissioner of Transportation and the Chair of the NJ Transit Board, Diane Gutierrez-Scacchetti. Madam.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to New Jersey Transit's Maintenance of Way facility. So much of what the governor said I could repeat, but let me say I echo all of his sentiments in terms of all that's been accomplished and all that this budget will allow us to continue to accomplish. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank Governor Murphy for his unwavering support of New Jersey Transit. And it's not just his financial support, but his leadership and continued encouragement of the New Jersey Transit team. You know, sometimes it's a little bit of tough love, but we need it. And so with that guidance and with his continued leadership, we have made many of the improvements that he just talked to you about. But second, the governor's continued financial commitment to New Jersey Transit's operational expenses is the tool that will allow us to keep moving forward. And I want to emphasize it's operational. As you all know, transit systems across the country rely on this operational support to provide a very valuable service. And while our fare box collections are very good at 50%, we cannot be successful without the support from the general fund. And so for that, we are grateful. And third and finally, in my role as chair of the toll authorities, as well as commissioner of DOT, the elimination of diversion funding acknowledges the importance of New Jersey's entire transportation infrastructure network. So as much as we could give money from those agencies to transit, our buses still need to run on our road system, and those road systems are maintained by the New Jersey Department of Transportation and the toll roads. So eliminating that diversion funding is a strong acknowledgement from the administration that our commitment is more than just New Jersey Transit, although it is the priority. It is the entire transportation system within the state of New Jersey. So I am very grateful for the significant general fund commitment to support New Jersey's operations. We are committed to all of our customers to continue to make the improvements that those extra operational dollars will provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Diane, thank you. And again, it's worth repeating to the entire transportation system. And I've said this before, we just have to acknowledge it. We're the 4th smallest state in the nation, but we're the densest state in the nation. So moving people and things around New Jersey is existential. It is literally more important to us than any other state in America. And boy, rail matters, bus routes matters, but roads, bridges, ports, and everything else also matter. Again, it's great to come to a community that works. I just wish the state could work as well as communities like Woodridge. And there's a guy here with us who I want to bring up for a few words who sees almost uniquely the reality in our state as a senator and the chair of the Budget Committee, but also as an exceptional mayor, joined by a couple of members of his distinguished council today. My honor to bring up for a few words Mayor and Senator Paul Sarlo.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for coming to Woodridge this morning after a long day in Trenton yesterday. Let me just, a little latitude here. I'm going to just acknowledge a few folks from Woodridge who are here. I'm going to come back and I'm going to finish with Woodridge before I talk about the state budget. But my council president, Councilwoman Catherine Cassidy, the only Irish of the group, actually. The rest are all Italians on the council. And my Councilman Ezio Altamura, and I want to acknowledge who are out working today, but Councilman Azzolini, Councilman DeMarco, Councilman Romero, and Councilman Marino, all supporters of our governor and great folks who know how to lead a little community. I also want to recognize my police chief, John Corrin. We won our state section basketball, Woodridge, for a small town yesterday. We're North Jersey Group 1 state section basketball champs. And Mr. Corrin and I, the chief and I, we led the team back to Woodridge last night. So thank you, Chief. And I also want to thank everybody else who was extended here. I see my borough attorney and Chris Isla, my manager and chief of staff. Let me come back to Woodridge in a moment. Let me just focus for a moment on what happened yesterday in Trenton. I believe yesterday was a good day for the state of New Jersey. It was a great way to start off a budget process. And I think you heard that from my colleagues, even my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. The governor presented a blueprint for New Jersey that gives all of us a very good starting point. And the governor acknowledged no budget ends up how it's introduced. But let me tell you, we got a really, really great starting point. I've been the chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee now for 10 years. And this is probably the best starting point that I have seen in 10 years. So that's a credit to you, Governor. And I just want to acknowledge we're here at New Jersey Transit today and why this is so important, and I'll segue why it's important to my community. We touched upon these diversions. Quite frankly, I've been part of them over the years as well. Diversions are budget gimmicks, quite frankly. And the governor began the process of saying, let's stop these gimmicks and stop the diversions. And one of the biggest diversions has been we have diverted money from other transportation agencies and authorities. Taken money from the Jersey Turnpike Authority, from the trust fund to fund New Jersey Transit. That's not fair to the people, the folks who work here in New Jersey Transit, to the leadership at New Jersey Transit, and to the folks who use New Jersey Transit. So in a big way, we said to New Jersey Transit, we're making a significant investment and we're stopping the diversions, and we're going to fund this from the state of New Jersey, from the general fund. I thought that was tremendous yesterday. And in addition to the stopping diversions, there's an additional $25 million. We have $100 million of state funds coming towards New Jersey Transit. Very significant, Governor. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So why it's so important to be standing here with the governor, my good friend, Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, and Mr. Corbett, our Executive Director. Why it's so important? Because over the years, and I've been doing this for a long time, as the mayor of the borough of Woodridge, you can never get the leadership of any governor or any folks who involve with our transportation from New Jersey Transit to partner with your communities. I went alone here at this facility, not this particular facility, but my train station, because I did not have the ability to partner for the vision of what I was trying to accomplish here in Woodridge. Woodridge is a small little single-family home residential community on the other side of the hill. We have a 150-acre industrial tract that resided here. That when I took over, quite frankly, it was worth $19 million. Today, because of the investment that we made as a community, we're now $300 million plus. And because we went alone and had to go out and build our own train station here. That's not going to happen in the future with the leadership behind me, because they realize an investment in New Jersey Transit is an investment not just in the ridership, but an investment in our community. And that's why I am so excited. So we're not done at this site. There's more work to be done, including future uses of this building and surrounding areas here. We're not done here, but it's significant that the governor today is the first day after the budget. His investment in New Jersey Transit and his future vision for New Jersey Transit is a partnership, not just with the riders, but the local communities. That never happened. In all the years I've been doing this as a mayor, that has never happened. So for me to be standing here with my governing body, knowing we're going to be able to partner with our transportation leaders as a mayor, as somebody who was born and raised on the other side of the hill in our little single-family home residential community, and we're creating a vision here of townhomes that are selling now for $600,000. Why are they selling for that? Because they can walk to a train station. When we're finished here, this is something all of us, this entire state of New Jersey will be proud of what we've accomplished on a 150-acre tract. It's like a little peninsula off the town of Woodridge. And the governor is going to, for the next 8 years, Governor, I promise you that, he's going to fulfill and help me fulfill my final vision. So as the chairman of the Senate Budget Appropriations Committee, I'm excited to get this budget process started. I am excited. We have a great starting point. Very positive. My colleagues, I spoke with my colleagues often today to the press. My colleagues are excited all. I think we're all excited about moving forward now, working together collectively, the legislature working together with the executive branch, and moving forward to get to a budget that we could all be proud of and that invests in New Jersey Transit.
Well said, Paul. And there's no more important investment than NJ Transit. I mean, people say, tell us quick what you're all about. It's education and transportation, in case you're wondering. Those are the levers that we're pulling morning, noon, and night to make sure the state gets back on its feet and punches at the weight we know it can punch. So this is Paul takes his mayor hat off, and it would just say that the trio of gentlemen to my right and your left make up the legislative team in District 36. And it's as unique and as talented a mix of a trio of any district anywhere around the state. And I reached out to a very few folks yesterday before I gave my remarks because I have enormous respect for them to ask to get their reactions. And one of the persons I reached out to is a guy who knows a lot about budgets. It's my honor to bring up Assemblyman and friend Gary Scher.
Good morning. The governor just reaffirmed that I'm not getting ashes today, but that's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's a joke. It's an honor and a privilege to be with all of you today. It is certainly an extraordinary honor to have Governor Murphy with us this morning and to be joined by my colleague and friend, Senator Sarlo, as well as Assemblyman Calabrese. This is a momentous day. Just a few hours after the governor presented his speech, he stands before us today here in Woodridge to speak about the practical implications of the budget that he presented yesterday. And certainly we're all extolling the values and the virtues of the $100 million net which will be applied to New Jersey Transit, as well as the fact that there will be no fare increases based upon this budget for commuters. We need not tell you in North Jersey the importance of the vibrancy and robustness of a transportation network. For over 25 years, I commuted to New York myself, and I was dependent upon public transportation. So this facility and this entire area, and Paul, we can't thank you enough in terms of your other role as mayor. The vision that you started, the vision that you've continued all these years has certainly paid off well and will continue to pay off under the leadership of Governor Murphy. The question is that, if you'll forgive me, is not only transportation, not only education, not only health, but all of the priorities that the state has before us. And there are so many different priorities, each one of which is so vital to the growth and the economy of this great state. The governor was very conservative, I believe, in his budget presentation yesterday. The size of the budget increase is minimal. We're taking care of debt. We're putting more money into reserves than has ever been done. But key to that focus also must be where is our additional funds coming to meet these obligations. And I join with a number of my other Assembly and I'm sure Senate colleagues in saying to the governor, you're right. there does need to be a millionaire's tax. The revenue generated is fundamental and important. As a member of the Assembly, I look forward to my Assembly Budget Committee working in tandem with Senator Sarlo and his Budget Committee to together craft a meaningful and important budget. There is work that needs to be done. Certainly that work is critical, and the role of both committees is fundamental. As the governor himself said yesterday, the budget that he presented is a starting point. But I would argue more than just a starting point. It has done so very, very much, and God willing will only accomplish more. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
That was an unexpected gift. Thank you. Gary, I appreciate your words, your support, your acumen on budget matters, and specifically your statement about the millionaire's tax. So God bless you and thank you. I mentioned this is a mix of extraordinary talent in this legislative district. And the newest member to the team just celebrated his 33rd birthday, by the way, a few days ago. Is a good example of that. A rising star, not just up here in Bergen County, but in the legislature, and a strong supporter of a lot of what we're talking about today. Please help me welcome Assemblyman Clinton Calabrese.
Thank you very much, and you don't have to sing me happy birthday. It's okay. 33. What am I doing? I'm really fortunate and blessed, actually, to have a great team. A cat. Oh, a cat. Just got off the train. I'm fortunate to have a great team around me with Senator Paul Sarlo, Assemblyman Gary Scher, and all my colleagues in the legislature. They've all been very great to me, and it's been a pleasure to work with them. But the governor's proposal to increase funding for the New Jersey transit system it's critical. It's a critical component to the state and our society. And it's literally the future. It's my future. It's my kids' future. As we move forward in society, we're going to need to pivot and move away from single occupancy vehicles, from gas-powered vehicles, and that's imminent. It's going to happen. And capital planning and funding for mass transportation, it's one of the first steps forward. And I'm just glad that we have a governor with the vision and the leadership to commit the funding and to do it. And I'm just very grateful to be here and be working with the legislator. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Clinton. Well said. And by the way, it's for families like Clinton. We talk about education and transportation. We got to make sure we continue to be the state of choice for the folks who are both raising a family and working full time. And that's great public schools, and that's being able to get to work, to and from school on time and safely. I want to bring, before we take a couple of questions, I want to bring Mayor Sarlo back up for a quick moment. Come on down.
Thank you, Governor. Governor, stand right here. I just wanted to, remiss if I did not recognize these 4 young folks with us, because in this budget there's an investment in education because of the governor. Councilwoman Cassidy is a teacher in our neighboring community of Hasbrook Heights, and she brought with us today 4 students from the Young Republican and Young Democratic Club of Hasbrook Heights. That Kathy chairs the club, and she brought them with us today to witness our governor talking about investment in New Jersey transit, but he's also making an investment in your education.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor. So let's, afterward, let's get a shot together if we can, folks, all right? And look at this cross-party cooperation. It's extraordinary. Take a couple of questions if we could. Please. Sorry, I was pointing around. Okay, go ahead, Brian. Sorry. I'll leave it to Diane or Kevin to talk about that. But it's important to look at our transportation system holistically. And this really is, that's not a lie. It's $100 million more in direct fund support. And the 75 million of diversions that are no longer being diverted, that money didn't fly out a window. That money is still being put to use in our broader transportation network. I'll let Diane or Kevin come up and talk specifically. Kevin, give us a quick sense.
Yeah, I think basically it's following up on when we went to the legislature and the governor last year. The money we increased, we said we wanted to come back this year asking for more, and we had to show that we justified it by spending the money wisely last year. I think one of the things you see that aside from the obvious PTC, the various programs we have that'll be continuing aggressively this year, the hiring of engineers, the LETP classes, all that will be, following up on that to make sure we deliver. The other things are the implementation of the North Highland audit that we did and the recommendations that came out. Those are the kind of things that we'll be looking to add funding for.
And among those are promises to which Kevin, I know, will recommit to getting the Dinky and the Atlantic City lines open by May 24th. Yeah. But you can look at those bars. Those bars don't lie. That's real state support over the past number of years. These two and I, we'll start with Ryan. We'll go to the left. Go ahead. I'll let Diane come up to talk to that, but the budget is the budget that we presented yesterday. We feel very good about that. This is a historic investment in NJ Transit from the state, and if we get this investment, again, we're going to have another year where commuters don't have a fare increase. The broader transportation, holistic infrastructure in the state is something that we think about morning, noon, and night. How do we best fund that in as transparent and as robust a way as possible? I'll ask Diane to come in and add a couple of words to that.
Thank you, Governor. So I think, Ryan, the best way to answer that is that with this budget as it's proposed and with the continued support of the legislature to take the $100 million from general fund to New Jersey Transit operations, that will allow the capital to operating transfer to go back to the 460 and then allow us to get to the point where we can really start to chisel that down over the next couple of years. Last year, that transfer, the way the transfers were done or the diversions, they weren't put into operations. So it artificially sort of changed the way the transfer was done, but it was not, this is the way we should do it, without diversions, with the money going into operations.
And by the way, it isn't just at NJ Transit. You probably noted, I mentioned this yesterday, we're trying to get away from the gimmicks, the one-shots, the diversions generally. So we've eliminated the Affordable Housing Trust Fund diversion. We've cut way back on the Clean Energy Fund diversion. We've pushed back on $75 million of diversions here. Please. No. Yeah, I would say to folks, there's no appetite on anyone's part to shut the state of New Jersey down. We've seen what it did at the federal government level, which was ridiculous. This is exactly what it appears to be. If we can get this increase of investment in NJ Transit, and we'll know that in the next couple of months, there will be no fare increase for another fiscal year. That's a big deal. There wasn't a fare increase this year. I have to remind folks that in the last administration, fares were up 36%. So the budget we presented yesterday in good faith is a budget that we believe in. This investment is the investment that we believe in. And I'm optimistic that we're going to have a year where another year where commuters aren't paying an increase in their fares. You had one, I apologize, I skipped you. So we can maybe offline at the end of this, Diane and Kevin can speak with you. I think what you heard from Kevin is more of the same, extending a lot of what we did last year. So it's continuing to increase the pool of engineers and bus operators, continuing to get lines open that we had to shut down for positive train control. We still have 2 more years of the final stages of positive train control. So there's a whole range of, I'd say, more of the same. Is that fair to say, folks? And the progress has been significant, but we're not there yet. Again, we're not claiming mission accomplished. We're not spiking any footballs, but we're making an unmistakable statement that education and transportation are the main pillars of the investment we're making in the middle class. Please, Brenna. So I'll answer this differently, because you started, I think, in a different place, and that is this. You mentioned that the Senate President had mentioned that maybe we could even put more money into NJ Transit. I think is essentially your point, and we're open to that. We have to make sure, though, that we have revenues that are sustainable that support that kind of investment. Obviously, when you look at those bars, we've made NJ Transit a big priority, but this also then you then have to look at the whole range of a $38+ billion budget and have a good discussion about priorities. But we're wide open to more investment in transportation and NJ Transit specifically, but we have to at the same time acknowledge that there are what priorities are we making, and secondly, where are the sustainable sources of revenue that are going to support that. Michael. Okay, so I believe in the budget we presented yesterday. It took a significant amount of effort to pull that together. Those healthcare savings, by the way, let's just go back to that. We don't reflexively pull the tax lever. We know we have to run a tight ship. We have to be responsible. We have to present to the 9 million folks who reside in this state the fact that there's adult stewardship. So, for instance, those healthcare savings that we've been able to accomplish with the public sector employees, we started sort of gaming that out and preparing for that in our transition when we weren't even in office yet. So I feel very comfortable with what we presented. It basically said, listen, run a tight ship and run a fair ship, emphasize fiscal responsibility, invest at all costs in the middle class, and find sensible tax fairness to round out that sort of theme of the budget. I personally believe we're talking about 19,000 people who at the federal level have gotten a very good shake. They got a good shake during the prior administration in New Jersey. It's not a big number, but it's a huge game changer in our ability to invest in the middle class. So I'm where I was yesterday. I believe in it. I think it's the right package in total. I'd less take pieces of it and pull them out and analyze them and say that I think it works in harmony. In terms of the atmosphere, listen, I've signed 207 bills. So for all the noise that gets talked about, the reality is we've found a lot of common ground. We did lay this out with both sides of the aisle before we went public with this budget yesterday. I had a good breakfast with a good spirit with the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker yesterday, just the three of us. We're able, we're not going to agree on everything, but we've been able to find common ground on a lot of stuff. And that includes, importantly, for the reason we're here today, investing in NJ Transit. I think with that, we're gonna say thank you. I want to thank again the mayor and council in Woodridge. Paul, thank you, as well as in your capacity as budget chair. Gary and Clinton, thank you for your leadership. Diane and Kevin and NJ Transit, to our brothers and sisters in labor, to each and every one of you, to our 4 young Democrats and Republicans, thank you all so much.